I fought against fierce beasts on the battlefield for 3 years, in place of my younger brother, establishing millions of battle achievements to become a 5-star general. I originally thought I would become the pride of my parents because of this. Yet within less than 3 minutes of returning home, my father demanded that I surrender all of my military achievements to my brother so he could rely on the extra entrance points to enter a martial arts university. He even stated that they could arrange a security guard position for me. To this, I merely chuckled softly. Could that spoiled, fair-skinned little brat even handle my million-strong army? In the living room of the Ren house, a middle-aged man with a straight stature and a resolute face sat in the main seat at the dining table. He was none other than the host's father, Ren Kai, the commander of the Demon Suppression Corps and a full general of the military department in Kahoku Province. The noble lady beside him was naturally the host's mother, Ren Yi, the head of the largest pharmaceutical research and development company in Kahoku Province. "Ren Shou, come quickly to eat." Seeing me come out, Ren Yi had a smile on her face and called out. I nodded, walked over to the dining table, and sat down. Beside me, apart from Ren Ritsu, there was a youth around 18 or 19 years old. This was the host's younger brother, Ren Haku. To my surprise, Ren Haku, just like Ren Ritsu, had a cold face without even a single word of greeting. This made me feel quite displeased in my heart. I served in the military for 3 years in your place, and this is how you treat me? Before I could express any denial, Ren Kai on the side spoke up to inquire. "Since you are back this time, take a good rest at home. You do not need to go back to the military zone. I will speak to the military over there." Hearing this, I frowned slightly, feeling somewhat puzzled, and asked, "Why? Your brother is about to take his martial arts exam soon, and those with battle achievements can get extra bonus points. Furthermore, I intend to promote your brother to a major in the military department, which requires the support of some meritorious achievements so that it will be easier for him to take over my position in the future." Renkai took a sip of tea and said casually, "So, what does all this have to do with me returning to the military zone?" Having picked up on the underlying meaning in Renkai's words, I asked with great interest, "You will give your battle achievements to your brother, and in the future, you will go to help out at your mother's company," Renkai said, with his brows slightly furrowed in dissatisfaction. Hearing these words, the expression in my eyes suddenly changed. I never expected that after serving in the army in place of my brother for 3 years, what I received upon returning was not care and recognition, but a demand for me to hand over my battle achievements to my brother. 3 years ago, when the demonic beasts at the border rioted and the frontline battle situation was dire, a secret conscription order was issued nationwide. As long as one became a martial artist, there was a chance of being conscripted. The host's younger brother, Renhaku, happened to be among them. However, as the martial arts genius of the Ren family, who had always been groomed as the heir, his parents were naturally unwilling to let him go to the front line to fight with demonic beasts. Therefore, they had the host serve in the military in place of his younger brother. And the host, in order to gain the recognition of his parents, actually agreed. One must know that the reason the conscription threshold was set at official martial artists was that only by becoming a martial artist could one fight against demonic beasts and have a possibility of surviving. However, for the sake of their favored son, the parents actually sent the host, who was not even a martial artist yet, to the battlefield. Without surprise, the host died smoothly on the battlefield. After I traveled across to this body, due to a lack of cultivation realm, I almost died in the mouths of demonic beasts several times. Fortunately, I awakened the system at the critical moment. In the subsequent 3 years, relying on the system, I established countless battle achievements and became a general in the Eastern War Zone. Now, they actually want me to hand over my battle achievements? On what basis? Even if he goes, he can only be a security guard, right? Having served in the military for 3 years, his physical fitness should still be all right. Renritsu cold snorted from the side. Seeing me remain silent, Renkai spoke up once again. "I heard you achieved quite a few accomplishments in the military zone, but with your talent, it is very difficult to advance further. Handing over the battle achievements to your brother will not only allow him to enter the top 10 martial academies, but also ensure that the real power of Kahoku's Demon Suppression Corps remains in the hands of the Ren family. You should understand this reasoning." Hearing this, I could not help but sneer aloud, with a few bits of irony and a few bits of relief mixed in my smile. The irony was that with my current military rank, I was fully qualified to stand as an equal alongside Renkai, or even outrank him. During these 3 years, if they had cared about me even a little bit, they wouldn't be completely in the dark. In my first year of joining the military, I killed over 1,000 enemies, and my terrifying record nearly shocked the entire war zone. Afterwards, my martial arts talent became increasingly terrifying, so out of protection, the military zone completely blockaded news about me. However, given Renkai's status, if he truly cared about me, it would be impossible for him to know nothing at all. The relief was that the decision of these parents made me even more resolute in my idea of making a clean break. Forget about having me hand over my battle achievements. His future has nothing to do with me. Serving in the military in his place 3 years ago, could it be that what I did was still not enough? I let out a cold snort. Renkai froze for a moment upon hearing this. He had not expected that someone in Kohoku province would actually dare to refute him, and that it was his own eldest son. Did he really think that after serving in the military for a few years and gaining a little bit of battle achievement, he no longer knew who he was? Although he was quite displeased in his heart, Renkai still revealed a smile. What? Are you dissatisfied with my arrangement? Or are you reluctant to part with that bit of battle achievement of yours? Or perhaps, do you want to contend with your brother for the position of commander of the Kohoku Demon Suppression Corps? Hearing this, my heart could not help but feel a wave of bitterness. Even though I had no feelings for this family, I still felt wronged on behalf of the host. It seems you really do have this idea. Renkai nodded and said, do not think that just because you served in the military for a few years, you have the right to choose. If it were not for me regarding this foundation, do you think you could have gotten so much care? 10 years ago, I retrieved you from the old city district for the sole purpose of making you a good blade for the Ren family and paving the way for your brother. I gave you everything, and I can also take away everything of yours. As his voice fell, my pupils abruptly shrank. So that was it. I was wondering how conscription could possibly reach the family of the Kohoku province commander. It turned out that Renkai personally maneuvered it behind the scenes, all for the purpose of having the host pave the way for Renhaku. So you had already planned everything long ago? Hearing this, veins instantly popped out on Renkai's forehead, and his expression turned extremely gloomy. He did not expect that the eldest son, who used to be obedient to him in the past, would actually disobey him repeatedly today. Ren Shou, don't forget who brought you back from the old city district. Without me, you would still be fighting over food with wild dogs. Hand over the battle achievements to your brother. When he guards Kohoku in the future, could it be that he would treat you poorly? This matter is settled. Renkai took a deep breath. The dissatisfaction in his heart had reached its limit, but he still forcibly suppressed it without exploding. I paid no attention to Renkai's barking, and instead looked toward Ren-I, asking in a cold voice, is this your intention as well? A look of fluster surfaced on Ren-I's face. After remaining silent for a short while, she said, Renshou, I know this matter is unfair to you, but we will compensate you well. Understood. I nodded, my tone exceedingly calm. Now that you understand, sit down and eat properly. Everything I do is for the sake of the Ren family. Renkai snorted coldly, his face remaining unsightly. I slowly stood up and said, you don't need to think about the matter of battle achievements anymore, and I don't care for this so-called heir of the Ren family either. Hearing this, the fury in Renkai's heart could no longer be suppressed, and he roared angrily, Unfilial son, what do you want to do? I glanced sideways at the enraged Renkai and said indifferently, since there is no place for me here, then I shall naturally leave. From today onward, I have nothing to do with the Ren family. You bastard thing. Renkai rose in violent anger. A domineering aura erupted forth as he struck out fiercely with a palm. However, I easily dodged it with a sidestep. Shock and anger mixed in Renkai's eyes. Although he had not used his full strength in this palm attack, he was nevertheless a Grandmaster level martial artist. Even a master would be unable to dodge this palm attack. Your so-called kindness, I already paid it back in full 3 years ago. Starting from today, I have no relationship with any of you. After finishing my words, I turned around and left without looking back. This scene was beyond anyone present's expectations. That timid person from 3 years ago was actually so unyielding today. Renshou! Ren-I reacted instantly and hurriedly chased after him. What are you calling him for? Renkai shouted loudly to stop Ren-I. If he wants to get lost, let him get lost. My Ren family does not need such a disgraced child. Renkai could not understand. Was that bit of battle achievement really that important? Important enough for him to give up his identity as the eldest young master of the Ren family? Ren-Yi sat down silently, her eyes carrying a few hints of unclear emotion as she said, "I feel this matter was still too rushed. After all, Rinshou has only just returned." Renkai snorted cold and said, "Too rushed? Everything of his was given by me. If it were not for me, he would have died in the old city district long ago. Sending him to join the military was also to give him training. What's wrong with handing over the battle achievements to Renhaku? At least he remains the eldest young master of the Ren family. I want to see how he survives after leaving the Ren family." Hearing this, Ren-Yi sighed and said, "Then I will find a time to bring him back. After all, we owe him too much. If he wants to get lost, let him get lost. I was truly blind to bring back such a troublemaking thing. Once he has suffered enough hardship, he will naturally come back." Thinking up to this point, Renkai glared at Renhaku and Renritsu again. "Neither of you is allowed to help him in private, do you hear me?" Renhaku and Renritsu nodded. They originally looked down on Renshou to begin with, so how could they possibly help Renshou? "No, then what about my battle achievements?" Renhaku on the side said timidly. "You don't need to worry about the battle achievements. This is something that belonged to you in the first place, and no one can take it away." In Renkai's mind, Renhaku was always his heir. As the commander of the Demon Suppression Corps in Kohoku Province, holding an army of 300,000 martial artists, if Renhaku wanted to take over his position, he must possess sufficient battle achievements. Otherwise, how could he convince the public? Therefore, 3 years ago, Renkai personally arranged that conscription list, but he was not at ease letting Renhaku go to the extremely perilous frontline battlefield, which was why he let the host serve in the military in place of his younger brother. Thus, during the 3 years of military service, I had always been using Renhaku's name. This was also why Renkai had such confidence. Even if I did not agree, he could still transfer the battle achievements to Renhaku. Hearing Renkai's words, Renhaku finally put his heart at ease. Living in a martial arts family like the Ren family, Renhaku had been pampered like a star held above clouds since childhood, which made his standards extremely high. However, he was also clear that while entering the top 10 martial academies was not an issue, he was still a bit short of the ultimate goal of becoming the divine martial champion, which Renhaku, accustomed to being pampered, could not accept. And the battle achievements on Renshou could just make up for his shortfall. "Father, I will definitely be able to enter the top 10 martial academies and take down the divine martial champion. Our Ren family might not be unable to produce a martial saint." Renhaku clenched his fists and said with full confidence, "Well said. Good, good, good. Worthy of being a child of my Ren family. Untold times stronger than that wicked obstacle. The martial arts fire of my Ren family shall be burned by you." Hearing this, Renkai stroked his beard and laughed loudly. "Shouldn't we discuss this matter with Renshou? What if he doesn't agree?" After Renhaku and Renritsu returned to their rooms, Ren-Yi asked with some worry. Hearing Renshou's name, a surge of irritation immediately rose in Renkai's heart. He was serving in the military in place of Renhaku in the first place. Now I am merely taking the things back. Does it require his consent? In a couple of days, prepare a victory celebration banquet and invite some prominent figures of Kohoku. Just say that the son who joined the military 3 years ago, Renhaku, has returned, and incidentally announce the order promoting Renhaku to major. Walking on the street, I felt incomparably relaxed. With a thought, a panel appeared before my eyes. Name, Renshou age, 22 realm, Grandmaster merit, 6.56 million martial arts, Retsujitsu blade technique, Shiho Kyoshin, volcanic fist biography file encrypted. Realm divisions, innate body forging, acquired blood refining, jade bone iron forging, master, grandmaster, true dragon, martial saint, martial god. Looking at my state, I couldn't help but frown. My blood vitality has decayed again. It seems those wounds caused by the demonic beasts are still lingering. According to this rate of decay, let alone breaking through to the true dragon realm, I am afraid it won't take long before I drop down to a master. In this era of high martial arts, there were mostly only 2 reasons for a martial artist's blood vitality to decay. One was decaying due to old age and physical frailty, and the other was suffering from a major illness. And I belonged to that rare severe type. Moreover, This poison was brought out from within the starry sky rift. The main purpose of returning this time was to heal my injuries. At this moment, the phone on my body rang. Glancing at the caller ID, it was the commander of the Eastern War Zone, Koga Tae-kun. He shared the same rank status as Ren Kai, both governing martial artist armies. A month ago, Koga Tae-kun was still my direct superior, though now the two of us belong to equal standing. Little Show, have you gone back to take a look at home? The phone connected, and Koga Tae-kun's voice came through. I nodded calmly. I have gone back, Commander Koga. Hearing this form of address, Koga Tae-kun laughed heartily a few times and said, You are now a chief officer of our military department. There's no need to be so restrained. Even if you call me Old Koga, I won't mind. I let out a bitter smile. I was still full of gratitude toward Koga Tae-kun. Back when I had just displayed my martial arts talent, Koga Tae-kun took extra care of me and tilted quite a lot of martial arts resources my way. Everything has been arranged for you over there. The Kohoku Province first-class doctor family once cured a dying grandmaster. You can go anytime. Koga Tae-kun no longer engaged in idle small talk and quickly said, Thank you, Commander Koga. In that case, I will head over today. I smiled slightly and said, Hearing this, Koga Tae-kun instantly detected a trace of something unusual. Why go over late at night? Did something happen? Tell me if there's anything. You are the martial saint seed of our eastern region. Saying this, Koga Tae-kun hesitated for a moment. It wouldn't be that your dad refuses to let you go, right? You kid better not be an ungrateful wretch to me. Do you know how many resources I've smashed into you? If that's really the case, I will go to Kohoku overnight. In Koga Tae-kun's eyes, Rensho was a proper martial saint seed. Achieving martial saint was merely a matter of time. Such a martial arts genius, placed anywhere, would be fought over by everyone. Ren Kai governed the Eastern War Zone. And if his own son had this kind of talent, it was not impossible that he would forcibly keep Rensho in Kohoku. If that happened, wouldn't his 3 years of cultivation become making a wedding dress for someone else? Rest assured, Commander Koga, once things are settled, I will return to the military zone immediately. I gave a bitter smile. If the parents were normal people, it might really be uncertain. But as things stood now, keeping me in Kohoku was completely impossible. Koga Tae-kun remained silent for a long while before saying, All right then, tell me your location and I will make arrangements. At the Eastern War Zone headquarters, a middle-aged man with a straight, resolute posture wearing a military uniform put down the telephone. Damn it all! Koga Tae-kun slammed his palm onto the desk. His formidable blood vitality force erupted in an instant, filling the entire room with terrifying pressure. Several people wearing military uniforms in front of him broke into a cold sweat instantly. Chief of Staff, you! Koga Tae-kun shouted loudly. Yuto, who was in front of him, trembled all over, covered in sweat. Here! Commander Koga. Koga Tae-kun picked up the file on the desk, threw it at Yuto, and roared. Read this damn well for me. He is from the Ren family of Kohoku Province. If the person doesn't come back, I'll send you to the underground catacombs for 10 years across 367 lifetimes. Yuto picked up the files scattered on the floor. Name, Ren Haku. Age, 19. Background, 4th son of the Ren family in Kohoku. Entered the Eastern War Zone in martial arts calendar year 397. Yuto's brain went boom with a buzz, and he instantly felt his whole person was off. Commander Koga, I didn't know about this either. At that time, the file showed that Ren Haku came from the old city district of Kohoku, but didn't find any information regarding the Ren family. Yuto had a difficult look on his face. With such a thing happening, he couldn't wash his hands clean first. Hearing this, Koga Tae-kun said coldly, Good. Your Renkai really has a great scheme, letting me raise his son for him. List out the resources he consumed in the military zone over these years. I am going to make a trip to Kohoku personally. Yuto wiped the sweat off his forehead. Seeing that Koga Tae-kun did not pursue the blame further, he breathed a long sigh of relief. Commander Koga, what are you going to Kohoku for? To demand the person. Either Renkai hands the person back to me, or he returns all the resources consumed over these years, expecting me to help him raise his son. In his dreams, Koga Tae-kun was about to explode with rage. If it weren't for the fact that the Clear Snow Festival was about to be held, and he wanted to register Rensho for it, which led to retrieving the file and discovering the issue, he wouldn't know how long his eastern region would suffer losses. One must know that cultivating a martial saint consumed at least tens of billions in resources every year. After hanging up the phone, I stood by the roadside waiting. Before long, a sharp screech of brakes sounded. "Hello, excuse me, are you Mr. Ren?" Hearing the voice, I turned around slowly. The person who came was a clean and pretty girl, who looked about 23 years old. I nodded. I am Teacher Go's fifth apprentice, Megumi. He specifically instructed me to come pick you up." A glimmer of surprise flashed in the girl's eyes. Although she did not know the other party's identity, anyone who could be called a general must be a great figure. Yet this Ren Shou seemed to be only in his early 20s. Such a young general had never appeared before. Hearing this, I was somewhat surprised. The Go family was a famous first-class family in Kohoku. I didn't expect Kogete-kun to actually be able to move a veteran of the Go family who had been retired for many years. After getting into the car, I sat in the back and asked, "How is my condition? Is there any possibility of treatment?" Smiling, the girl in front, Megumi, said, "Rest assured, teacher has already examined your condition. Healing it is not difficult. He will come in person tomorrow." I nodded, breathing a sigh of relief in my heart. Although the injuries on my body were troublesome, it was not as if I had no options left. There were plenty of miraculous pills in the system, but the prices were extremely expensive. If I truly wanted to exchange for them, I estimated I would have to slaughter all the way to the royal palace of those foreign beasts on the front line. "Hey, have you heard? The Ren family is holding a victory celebration banquet. What's going on with this? Word is that the son who went to the front line 3 years ago has returned and is going to be promoted to the rank of major." My goodness, isn't that Ren Haku only around 20? Such a young major. Won't he be taking over the Ren family in the future? I see it this way. When the foreign beasts invaded back then, for Ren Haku to survive on the battlefield, he must surely have a lot of merit on him. Being promoted to major is quite reasonable, pedestrians on the street were discussing animatedly. The Ren family was a pillar of Kohoku province, so its news naturally attracted the attention of many people. Having just entered his office, Provincial Governor Kiryu Bunsei saw the newspaper on his desk. Glancing at it, his brows immediately knitted together. That one from the Ren family has returned? What Kiryu Bunsei was reading was precisely the news put out by the Ren family. If I remember correctly, as soon as this Ren Haku joined the military, he displayed extremely formidable talent. However, news of him suddenly went silent later on. I even thought he had died. Kiryu Bunsei narrowed his eyes slightly. In the entire Kohoku province, no one paid more attention to the Ren family than he did, as the provincial governor. He had the duty to supervise the Ren family. Otherwise, given the status and position of the Ren family, wouldn't they act lawlessly in Kohoku? Listening to the report from his subordinate, Kogete-kun's brows furrowed tighter and tighter. Are you saying Renkai wants to promote Ren Haku to major? Where did this news come from? Is it reliable? Kogete-kun was incomparably bewildered. Ren Haku was already a general. How did he become a major instead? How could this military rank grow lower and lower? Commander, the news is definitely accurate. I specifically sent someone to the Ren family to ask. An adjutant said, "There's actually such a thing! Is this Renkai going senile? Or does he not know Ren Haku's identity?" Kogete-kun could not figure it out. Although the Eastern region had listed news regarding Ren Haku as military secrets, for their own son fighting fiercely against foreign beasts on the front line, how could they not pay attention or know nothing about Ren Shou's identity? Kohoku City, Go Family Estate. Having just finished my breakfast, a knock sounded at the door. "General Ren, teacher has arrived." Hearing this, I stood up and opened the room door. Apart from Megumi, whom I had met yesterday, there was also an old man wearing a traditional suit with graying hair. This person was the master-level alchemist, Go Kaniosh. "Old Master Go, sorry to trouble you to make a trip." I hurriedly rose to welcome him. Go Kaniosh waved his hand and smiled. "Young friend, no need to be polite with me. Since it was personally arranged by General Koga, this old man naturally will not refuse." Although he put it that way, Kogete-kun and Renkai were equal in military rank. Yet, in my memory, whenever Go Kaniosh met Renkai, he was neither humble nor pushy. The reason was simple. An alchemist of the same tier was far more precious than a martial artist. "This injury of yours has been present for 10 days to half a month, and the toxin has invaded the body. It will require some time before it can be eradicated completely." After conducting an examination, Go Kaniosh spoke up calmly. Hearing these words, I breathed a sigh of relief. Then I shall trouble you, old master. Goda Kaneyoshi smiled meaningfully. Don't be in a hurry to thank me just yet. Me treating someone's illness, there is no such thing as doing it for free. That goes without saying. Old master, feel free to speak up. As long as it is within my capability, I will never decline, I said calmly. Goda Kaneyoshi let out a sigh, a look of worry surfacing on his face. Although my Go family makes friends far and wide, that ultimately relies on others after all. In martial arts, only being powerful oneself is the hard truth. Feeling somewhat puzzled, I asked, Old master, what do you mean? I have a granddaughter studying at the Sacred Martial Academy in Kyoto. I reckon you two are of similar age, so I want you to become the proud son-in-law of my Go family. Hearing this, I instantly found it amusing. I was originally wondering what great price Kogute-kun had paid, but it turned out he was planning to sell me off. Old master, I am a crude person. Even if your granddaughter agreed, I also have a marriage contract on me. I beg your pardon for being unable to comply. I hurriedly refused. This marriage contract was not fabricated by me either, but was personally arranged by the original host's parents back in the day. However, looking from the memories of the original host, the other party did not seem to think much of him, so I had not taken it to heart either. Hearing this, a trace of disappointment flashed in Goda Kaneyoshi's eyes. After all, with a marriage contract intact, being under parental orders, it was not good for him as an outsider to intervene. Since that is the case, I will not force it. The injury I will still treat for you. Wait for me to go back, prescribe a medicine pack for you, and formulate a few batches of pills. Then it can be root cured. Goda Kaneyoshi had no choice but to drop the subject, standing up to give a few instructions before preparing to leave. Just at this moment, a person walked in hurriedly at the doorway. Old master, Miss Su has arrived. She specifically demanded to see Rensho. Goda Kaneyoshi frowned. Rensho? Isn't that the eldest son of the Ren family? What is she looking for him at my place for? Just say he isn't here and see the guest out. Goda Kaneyoshi waved his hand, completely indifferent. Wait a moment, old master. Perhaps she came to find me. I hurriedly opened my mouth. You are that eldest son of the Ren family? Aren't you Ren Haku? Goda Kaneyoshi was instantly startled. This matter is a long story. Let us first have the person come in to see what it is about. I shook my head and smiled. It seemed that in order to let Ren Haku possess the battle achievements, the Ren family had truly done quite a lot. So much so that even a prominent family like the Go family thought the person who joined the military back then was Ren Haku. Rensho, don't think that I won't be able to find you just because you are hiding here. Before the person was even seen, an angry voice resounded. Following that, a girl with fair skin and red lips walked into the hall of the Go family. At this moment, her face was frosty as ice, a pair of eyes also containing angry rain. Seeing Goda Kaneyoshi, she flushed and politely greeted him. Goda Kaneyoshi nodded with a smile, letting out a light sigh at this scene without stepping in to interfere. What is it? I frowned, my tone cold. From memory, I learned that Suzukaze-kan revolted against the original host immensely. Every time they met, she would mock and sneer at him, saying the original host came from the old city district, possessed a low status, and was unworthy of her, among other things. Fortunately, the original host still had some backbone and did not act as her simp. Don't think that just because you are hiding here, I have no way of dealing with you. I am telling you, wanting me to marry you is impossible, Suzukaze-kan said frostily. Ever since knowing Rensho returned, she went to the Ren family home at the first moment, naturally, to annul the marriage contract. However, what made her surprised was that Renkai actually agreed in a single breath. But she did not think too much of it. After all, for her, it was a good thing. You just came to tell me this matter, right? Then I know now. You can leave. My expression was calm. Don't think that by trying to keep me... Suzukaze-kan froze, clearly not expecting Rensho to have this kind of attitude. Annulling the marriage was something she didn't know how many times she had mentioned, and every time it was passed over by Rensho with a brush off. Moreover, in the past, no matter what harsh words she said, Rensho would not take them to heart. How did she feel a sense of distant coldness coming from him now? What? Do you still have something else? Seeing her hesitant to speak, I asked with some impatience. No, nothing. Seeing my indifferent attitude, Suzukaze-kan felt quite unpleasant in her heart. She came aggressively to break off the engagement, but the other party agreed with a simple brush-off, giving her the feeling of punching a cotton ball. Since you have self-awareness, then that's even better, saving me from wasting time. Suzukaze-kan let out a light snort, then said politely to Goda Kanayoshi, Grandpa Go, I have offended you greatly today. Please do not take it to heart. No matter, no matter. Goda Kanayoshi's old face was almost smiling into the shape of a chrysanthemum. Placed in the past, if a junior of the Su family dared to act wildly in front of him, she would have been blasted out long ago. But since she was breaking off the engagement with Rensho, let it be. He had just been greatly disappointed a moment ago, and right on its heels came someone delivering coal in the snow. Was there actually such a good thing? This junior will not disturb you further. After finishing her words, Suzukaze-kan turned around and left without looking back. At this moment, Goda Kanayoshi said cheerily, Young friend Rensho, since the marriage contract has already been dissolved, what do you think about that matter regarding my granddaughter? Hearing this, I could not help but let out a bitter smile. The excuse I just found was proven gone directly by Suzukaze-kan, and now it was not good to refuse directly either. Old master, this matter is still better considered long-term. We still have to ask your granddaughter's opinion, right? Goda Kanayoshi nodded in agreement. Since that is the case, then this matter is settled as such. When my granddaughter returns from Kyoto Martial Arts University, I will introduce you two to meet. Suzukaze-kan, who had not yet stepped out of the Go family gate, heard the conversation between the two and could not help but freeze with wide eyes. The old master of the Go family wants to bring together his granddaughter and Rensho, and it's that heavenly proud daughter from the Sacred Martial University? Has the Go family gone mad? Suzukaze-kan hesitated for a moment and walked back over. Grandpa, Go, there is one thing I think you should know. Goda Kanayoshi, who was in a great mood, waved his hand. Speak! Suzukaze-kan remained silent for a moment before opening her mouth. Although Rensho is the eldest son, he cannot inherit the Ren family. The true heir of the Ren family is Ren Haku. This was told to me by Ren Haku personally. So please do not be deceived by Rensho and hand over the fate of the Go family into the hands of such a person. Hearing this, Goda Kanayoshi's face turned black instantly. When has it ever been a little girl's turn to point fingers at how my Go family does things? Goda Kanayoshi's temper flared up in an instant. What did these words mean? He had taken a liking to Rensho's background. Suzukaze-kan's face flushed slightly. She did not expect her well-meaning reminder would actually enrage Goda Kanayoshi, and she wasn't even clear on what the reason was. Right now, she no longer dared to say anything more. After walking out of the Go family, Suzukaze-kan gritted her teeth in hatred. Her face turned pale as she said, Once the victory celebration banquet of the Ren family is over, the Go family will know that Rensho is nothing at all. The only one who can hold power is Ren Haku. When the time comes, they will have their regrets. 3 days passed in a flash. Inside the main hall of the Ren family, it was exceptionally bustling. As the commander of the Demon Suppression Corps in Kohoku, those who could be invited were all big figures. Ren Kai sat in the main seat and spoke in a deep voice. Today is the victory celebration banquet for my son, Ren Haku. Years ago, when the front line was in chaos and foreign beasts invaded, as a general of the military department, I had the duty of taking the brunt. However, the northern tribe was likewise eyeing us covetously. Therefore, I sent Ren Haku to the front line to slay the enemy. Once these words came out, many people present nodded in agreement, while in their hearts they respected Ren Kai even more. The son of a pillar family invading, enduring the pain to send his son to the front line to kill the enemy, worthy of being a pillar of the military department. Inviting everyone here today, one is to hold a victory celebration banquet for Ren Haku, and the second is to invite everyone to serve as a witness. Today, I bestow upon Ren Haku the military rank of Major in the Northern Country Guarding Army. As Ren Kai's voice fell, the people present all nodded in approval. Ren Haku served in the military for 3 years. In terms of seniority and merit, he is qualified to be promoted to Major. Not bad. And Ren Haku's martial arts talent is outstanding. He is a proper candidate for Kyoto's Sacred Martial University. Our Kohoku province is going to produce another martial saint. Hearing these words, Ren Kai nodded with satisfaction. Since everyone has no objections, this matter is settled as such. From today onward, Ren Haku is a major of my military department. On the side, although Ren Haku's expression was calm, his inner heart was excited beyond measure. A 20-year-old major of the military department, and in another half a month, he could become a contestant for Kyoto's Sacred Martial Academy. Combining the two, How many people at his age could accomplish this? Just then, the butler walked in and said, "Family head, the provincial governor has arrived." Ren Kai had a trace of surprise on his face. He and Kiryu Bunsei had very little interaction, and he hadn't expected the other party would come at all. Just as he walked out the door, he saw Kiryu Bunsei, and beside him was a young man in his early 20s. "Provincial Governor Lee, you had the leisure to come to my Ren family today?" Kiryu Bunsei chuckled and said, "I heard the Ren family has a joyous occasion, so I came to join in the fun. General Ren wouldn't be unwelcome to it, right?" "What kind of words are those? A visitor is a guest." Ren Kai raised an eyebrow. "I wonder who this one is." After taking their seats, Ren Kai looked toward the young man on the side and asked. Initially, Ren Kai hadn't paid much attention, but seeing that Kiryu Bunsei didn't dare to neglect the other party in the slightest, he inquired. "A junior from a family in Kyoto, surnamed Shia." Kiryu Bunsei smiled and explained. Hearing this, Ren Kai's eyes narrowed slightly. He understood Kiryu Bunsei's background quite well, with the surname Shia. It was likely only the martial saint family of Kyoto, the Shia family. Shinjo Shia hurriedly stood up. "General Ren, 3 years ago when the foreign beasts invaded, you decisively sent your son to the border to slay the enemy. Such great righteous actions are truly admirable." Hearing that General Ren was holding a victory celebration banquet for him, I specially rushed over to see him. Pardon my intrusion. The people present were instantly shocked beyond measure upon hearing this. One must know that was a martial saint family, actually coming specifically for Ren Haku. Ren Kai smiled happily. "Young Master Shia flatters us. Guarding the country is what we military men ought to do. As a general of the military department, when the country is in trouble, how could I sit by and watch?" Shinjo Shia nodded in admiration. "What General Ren says is very true. I wonder where Brother Ren is now." Ren Haku on the side had long been unable to hold back. Hearing these words, he immediately took a step forward. "Brother Shia, I am Ren Haku." Although the Ren family was a martial arts family in Kohoku, and Ren Kai was the commander of Kohoku, compared to a martial saint family, they were short by more than a little bit. Ren Haku never dreamed that he could actually call a martial saint family member his brother. However, Shinjo Shia looked at Ren Haku, a trace of surprise flashing in his eyes. Although he hadn't seen the person himself, he heard that the other party killed over 1,000 enemies in a single night and was called the Border Slaughter God, not to mention being a heroic figure. But at least he should have a military posture, yet the person before his eyes had fair skin and looked like a pampered young master. Although Shinjo Shia felt some doubts in his heart, it was not good to say much, so he extended his hand and said with a smile, "Brother Ren, I have long heard of your great name." Ren Haku was overjoyed in his heart. He was still guessing how Shinjo Shia knew him. Presumably, it was because his peerless talent had already alarmed Kyoto. Perhaps Shinjo Shia came this time precisely to recruit him into the Sacred Academy. Thinking up to this point, Ren Haku's heart was wildly ecstatic, and he immediately held the other party's hand with a smile. "Brother Shia, compared to you, my family is still short by quite a bit." Hearing this, Shinjo Shia felt even more strange in his heart. Short by quite a bit compared to me? Isn't this embarrassing me? The Border Slaughter God, Eastern General, the youngest military star in the country, looking across the whole nation, no one can surpass him. Not only Shinjo Shia, even Kiryu Bunsei on the side felt something was a bit wrong. Is this person truly the rumored Eastern military star? Ren Haku's behavior is somewhat too junior-like. It is completely different from the image of the young military star I imagined. Looking at this scene, Ren Kai was in a great mood, feeling that his decision was extremely correct. Ren Haku was his heir, and only he could lead the Ren family toward a higher position. Just at this moment, a discordant voice sounded out from outside the door. "Ren Kai, you damn it all truly have a great scheme. Where is Ren Haku?" Immediately after, a middle-aged man wearing a military uniform with a straight posture walked in a rage, causing many people present to gasp in cold air. Today, the Ren family could be said to have infinite glory. Not only was the governor present, even the Kyoto martial saint family had sent someone. What blind fool dared to come and look for trouble with the Ren family? However, after they clearly saw the incoming person, their expressions froze in an instant because the insignia carried on that person's shoulders indicated that the incoming person was a general. Kogate-kun, you don't stay properly in the military department. What are you doing coming to my Kohoku? Renkai frowned, asking with an unfriendly tone. Kogate-kun sneered. What do you think? Of course I came to demand the person from you. Where is Renhaku? Renhaku again? The people present were completely unable to speak words anymore. The governor, the Marshal Saint family, and now the Eastern General had come as well. What on earth was the secret with this Renhaku? Could it be that the Ren family really produced a Keelan-son? Renkai's brows knitted tightly. Kogate-kun's appearance made him realize something was wrong. Back then, the place he had Rensho go to was precisely the Eastern War Zone. Now Kogate-kun came in person, specifically demanding to find Renhaku. Could it be that Rensho had some special identity or caused some huge disaster? Just as he was pondering, Renhaku could not hold back and bounced out, saying with a face full of pride, General, I am Renhaku. Today's Renhaku could be said to be stealing the spotlight. All the big figures of Kohoku came for him, giving Renhaku, who was pampered like a star since childhood, immense satisfaction. Seeing Kogate-kun arrive, he still thought the other party came for him, so he couldn't wait to step forward. Kogate-kun glanced at the incoming person and immediately frowned. You are Renhaku. If he is Renhaku, then who the hell is my Eastern General? Kogate-kun was about to burst into loud curses, but found that Renkai did not stop him, which made his brows furrow even deeper. Kiryu Bunsei and Shinjoshiya on the side also felt something was wrong. As the Eastern military star, how could Kogate-kun reveal this kind of expression for Renhaku? Are you saying he is Renhaku? Kogate-kun asked with a face full of confusion. Renkai nodded. What? Is there a problem? Kogate-kun narrowed his eyes, then suddenly laughed out loud a few times. What kind of words are those? Since parting at the military department, we haven't met for more than 10 years. I just happened to come over to take a look today. Renkai frowned, feeling somewhat unable to make heads or tails of it. If it's to catch up, what was the meaning of your rage just now? Hearing this, Kogate-kun sneered in his heart. Rage? I can't wait to give you a beating. If I hadn't seen that Renhaku wasn't that person, I would have flipped out long ago. It's nothing, just speaking out against injustice for Renhaku. He fought bravely to slay enemies on the front line with no small amount of merit, yet you only gave him a major rank. Kogate-kun gave a chuckle, instantly understanding things in his heart. No wonder he wanted to confer Renhaku as a major. It turned out they were not the same person at all. Hearing this, Renhaku felt delighted in his heart. Another person came to speak up for him, but he still said humbly, General Koga, I am still young in age and lacking in seniority. It is only right to take it slowly. Kogate-kun glanced at him, then expressed surprise. I remember you have 2 sons, don't you? Why don't you introduce the other one to me as well? After seeing that Renhaku was not his Eastern military star, he instantly felt something was wrong, but he did not expose the matter on the spot. He didn't care in the least how Renkai acted. He only wanted to know where his Eastern military star was. Hearing this, Renkai snorted coldly, his face turning cold. That unfilial son has already been driven out of the house by me. So that's how it is. Kogate-kun nodded thoughtfully, thinking to himself what kind of madness Renkai was suffering from, driving a military general and future Marshal Saint out of the house. Following that, he glanced at Renhaku, a guess immediately forming in his heart. The one in the eastern region was not this Renhaku, but this victory celebration banquet was held for him. What does the Ren family want to do? Kogate-kun's brows furrowed deeper and deeper, but he did not speak the matter out. Instead, he said with a light smile, Since that is the case, I will not disturb you further. After finishing his words, he walked straight out of the Ren family gate. Seeing this, Shinjoshiya on the side quickly followed out. General Koga! Junior Shinjoshiya of the Kyoto Shia family has some matters he would like to ask you. I wonder if I could bother you for 2 minutes. A member of the Shia family? Hearing this, Kogate-kun associated it with the Marshal Saint family. What do you wish to understand? May I ask General Koga, was the border slaughter god Renhaku back then this person from the Ren family? Shinjoshiya took a deep breath. Kogate-kun let out a cold laugh. It was indeed Renhaku, but it wasn't this brat of the Ren family. This Renkai, I don't know if he went senile or what, drove the general in white armor out of a house and found someone to replace him. It truly drops one's jaw. Hearing this, Shinjoshiya was instantly stunned. Then why didn't you point it out just now? Kogate-kun let out a loud shout, Bah! Why should I expose him? What Renkai does has nothing to do with me. Alright, I still have to go find my Eastern general. To think that after 3 years in the military, I didn't even know his real name. Kogate-kun let out a long sigh of regret. Renhaku stole the spotlight today and was in a great mood. Ukan, the matter of the marriage contract was resolved, right? I still have to thank you for this. Otherwise, I wouldn't dare to bring this up with Uncle Ren. Suzukaze-kan had a calm face. Renhaku revealed a smile on his face. That's right. Ukan, I got to know someone today, from a Kyoto Marshal Saint family. Later, I will introduce you to get acquainted. Hearing this, a trace of shock flashed in Suzukaze-kan's eyes. How could you know such a family? Presumably because my martial arts talent is outstanding, it has already alarmed Kyoto, Renhaku said casually, but the triumph on his face did not diminish in the slightest. Here comes young Master Shia! Seeing Shinjo Shia walking in from the door, he immediately called out, Brother Shia! Hearing the voice, Shinjo Shia glanced sideways at him, his eyes instantly turning overcast and gloomy. Then he withdrew his gaze, came to Kiryu Bunsei's side, and whispered a few words. A trace of fluster gradually surfaced on Kiryu Bunsei's face. Following that, he looked toward Renkai and said indifferently, General Ren, I still have important matters to attend to today. Farewell. Perceiving the change in Kiryu Bunge's attitude, Renkai felt puzzled. Renkai was visibly startled and said, If that's the case, please go ahead. Brother Shia, why didn't you hear me calling you just now? Renhaku walked over at that moment, speaking with a hint of dissatisfaction. In the past, he would never have dared to speak to someone from a Marshal Saint family in such a manner, but today, all parties, powerhouses, and dignitaries had come for his sake, making him feel like the main character. Shinjo Shia sneered, Who is your brother? I simply mistook you for someone else. If you dare to spread rumors about this, I guarantee you won't even make it to Kyoto. I'm only giving face to Renkai. Otherwise, with my temper, I would have already beaten you up. What kind of trash are you to call me your brother? Hearing this, Renhaku's face turned completely dark, and he clenched his fists, though he lacked the nerve to clash with a Marshal Saint family member. Your physique is quite impressive. It seems you have practiced some sort of body-refining martial arts, as your recovery speed has exceeded my expectations, Goda Kaneyoshi said as he brought out a sandalwood box, immediately filling the room with the overflowing fragrance of spirit-clearing medicine. The subsequent treatment will mainly focus on purging the toxins. You should be completely healed in another week. I reached out to take the box and gratefully said, Thank you very much, old master. Goda Kaneyoshi smiled slightly and remarked with emotion, Your physical foundation is rare. You have likely reached the level of refined sinews and jade bones. The high-tier alien that injured you must not have been low level, right? Indeed not low, I chuckled softly. It had half a foot in the Marshal Saint realm, Goda Kaneyoshi gasped deeply. Slaying a half-step Marshal Saint alien while at the Grandmaster realm, such combat power is terrifying. No wonder he is known as the Borderland God of Slaughter. Just then, a voice resounded from outside the door. Old master, there is someone outside who claims he refuses to come unless called, named Kogate-kun. Goda Kaneyoshi froze for a moment, then smiled and said, It seems someone still cares about you after all. I let out a helpless laugh and walked out of the room. Ha ha ha, you brat, I finally found you? I thought you wouldn't come back to see me? Kogate-kun immediately burst into hearty laughter. Didn't I say I'd head back once my injuries healed? Why did you come in person, Chief? I replied with a smile. Isn't it because I was afraid your father wouldn't let you go? You're a Marshal Saint candidate now. If you don't return, wouldn't my Eastern war zone lose big time? Kogate-kun said casually, before immediately asking with a serious expression. You brat, tell me clearly, what on earth happened with this Renhaku? After learning the details of what had occurred, Kogate-kun slammed his teacup onto the table in a rage, his demeanor filled with fury. That old beast, for the sake of Renhaku, had actually staged a farce of replacing the hero. Kogate-kun was thoroughly stunned that such parents could exist in this world, biased to such an absurd degree. Meanwhile, in the main hall of the Ren residence, Renkai sat on the sofa with a heavy frown. Don't you think today's events were a bit strange? Ren-yi nodded. Although the Ren family held authority over the Jiangbei Demon Suppression Army, making it plausible for Kiryu Bunsei and Kogate-kun to visit, their rapid departure suggested only one possibility. They had come for a specific person and left immediately upon learning that individual was absent. Do you think it could be because of Ren's show? Ren-yi suddenly spoke up. Ren Kai couldn't help but frown upon hearing this. Could Ren Shou have caused trouble on the front lines? Or does he hold some hidden identity capable of drawing both the provincial governor and a Marshal Saint family here? Thinking of this, Ren Kai sneered with growing disdain in his heart, thinking that Ren Shou dared to rebel just because he had earned a few military merits. Without him, Ren Shou might have died in some forgotten corner long ago. At the same time, after Kogute-kun understood the full situation, he returned to the Eastern War Zone, leaving Goda Kanayoshi feeling deeply troubled. Ren Kai was so heartless. One wondered what expression he would wear when he eventually learned Ren Shou's true identity. Just then, a voice called out from outside the door. "Old Master, the Su Group has invited you to participate in their latest drug development project." Goda Kanayoshi snorted coldly and ordered, "I'm not going. Tell them that from now on, my Goda family will no longer cooperate with the Su Group." In this era of martial artists, the preciousness of medicine went without saying. A single ordinary blood-nourishing powder could sell for as high as 100,000 yuan, making pharmaceutical corporations extraordinarily profitable and fiercely competitive. The Su Group had been able to become the leading enterprise in Jiangbei precisely because of Goda Kanayoshi's assistance. Now that Goda Kanayoshi knew of the Ren family's actions, he naturally wouldn't help them anymore. Upon returning to the governor's mansion, Kiryu Bunsei kept a dark face the entire time. "Look at what you've done. You've completely thrown away our dignity." Kiryu Bunsei was truly furious. Ren Haku was merely a pampered young master, yet he, a dignified provincial governor, had actually attended such a person's celebratory banquet. How can you blame me? Who knew what got into Ren Kai to kick a high-ranking military general out of his home? Shinjo Shia was equally frustrated. Whenever he recalled Ren Haku's smug expression, he felt like slapping him twice on the spot, if not for considering Ren Kai's domain. Hearing this, Kiryu Bunsei sighed. What is the current situation in Kyoto? The alien threat is growing stronger, and several Marshal Saint families are locked in fierce disputes over power. With the Star General selection approaching, whoever secures the support of that war god from the Eastern War Zone will likely gain control, Shinjo Shia said with a solemn expression. Kiryu Bunsei's eyes flickered with a strange light. Is that person truly strong enough to alter the trend of several Marshal Saint families? Shinjo Shia took a deep breath and replied, "He might be even stronger than you imagine. Very few people can match his identity." Kiryu Bunsei's expression changed instantly. The highest rank in the military was the general rank, divided into Major General, Lieutenant General, and Supreme General. Once reaching Supreme General, rank was determined by stars, with each added star requiring an unimaginable amount of military merit. Someone like Ren Kai, who commanded a local army, was merely a one-star Supreme General. Since few could match Ren Shou's identity, what level was he at? There were several one-star Supreme Generals across the major war zones. Could he be a two-star? That would be a chief leader level in the military. Thinking of this, a chill ran down Kiryu Bunsei's spine. To achieve such accomplishments at such an age was truly frightening. Over the next few days, my injuries recovered rapidly, and the toxins would be completely purged in another 2 or 3 days. I washed my face and prepared to step out for some fresh air. But just as I was about to leave, Goda Kanayoshi called out to me. Yesterday, Governor Ri sent word that someone wants to visit you in person, supposedly someone from the Marshal Saint Shia family in Kyoto. The Kyoto Shia family? A look of curiosity flashed across my face. After a moment's thought, I nodded and said, I happen to have nothing else to do, so I'll pay them a visit. At the military terminal, Ren Kai looked toward a division commander and asked, how is the investigation into that matter going? The division commander offered a military salute and answered, my clearance is insufficient. I'm afraid you'll need to authorize it yourself, sir. Surprise registered on Ren Kai's face. Even a division commander's authorization was insufficient? It appeared Ren Shou's background was quite complex. Stepping up to the screen, he placed his chief badge onto the scanner. Identity verification in progress. Verification successful. Welcome to the military system. Your current clearance allows you to view the following. Ren Shou entered the Eastern War Zone in the Martial calendar year 397. On February 18th, the captain of the Eastern War Zone Vanguard Squad fell in battle. Having slain over 100 enemies and accrued sufficient military merit, Ren Shou was promoted by 1 rank to military officer and assumed command of the Vanguard Squad. In December of Martial Calendar 397, he joined the 367th Regiment with the rank of First Lieutenant. Ren Kai's pupils contracted. He had not expected Ren Shou's rank to advance so quickly, rising from a recruit to an officer in just 1 year. No wonder he clung so tightly to those minor battle accomplishments. However, as Ren Kai attempted to view further details, he discovered his clearance level was still insufficient. He wasn't entirely surprised. It was normal for a martial talent of such speed to be placed under high security. This encrypted authorization is excessively high, Ren Kai thought, connecting it to Koga Taekun's sudden appearance a few days prior. He guessed it was likely meant to guard against him. Just a lieutenant rank. Does he think I care? Ren Kai closed the screen with an ambiguous smile on his face. Just then, the phone rang. After answering and hearing a few sentences, Ren Kai's expression darkened abruptly. In the main hall of the Ren residence, Ren Yi sat on the sofa with a face full of worry, accompanied by Ren Haku and Ren Ritsu. The moment Ren Kai entered the door, he asked, "Has the Goda family severed their cooperative relationship with our Ren family?" Ren Yi nodded with a grim expression. "A few days ago, during the new drug development phase, I sent someone to invite Goda Kaneyoshi, but he refused. He even stated that from now on there will be no further interactions between us. With martial medicine thriving, the iteration speed of drugs is extremely fast. Without Goda Kaneyoshi's assistance, the Su Group faces immense hurdles in developing new drugs. If we fail to keep up with market demand, we risk being eliminated. Therefore, Goda Kaneyoshi is vital to the Su Group." Renhaku frowned and asked, "Could it be that Old Master Goda thinks we didn't offer enough, which is why he refuses to cooperate with us?" "Impossible. We give the Goda family a 50% dividend every year. Isn't that more than enough?" Ren Ritsu shook her head and speculated. Could another group have secretly contacted Goda Kaneyoshi and offered conditions he couldn't refuse? Renyi remained silent for a moment as she listened to everyone's discussion. Ren Kai's face turned sullen as he spoke up. "I don't think that's it. Ren Shou is currently staying at the Goda residence. Goda Kaneyoshi's sudden announcement to terminate cooperation is likely related to him." At these words, everyone's gaze instantly turned toward Ren Kai. "What, it's actually him?" Ren Haku was stunned for a moment and asked, "How could Old Master Goda believe his words?" Ren Kai sneered, "Don't look down on your elder brother. His position in the Eastern War Zone isn't low, at least a captain." Hearing this, Ren Haku instantly understood. A captain at such an age might very well be valued and recruited by Goda Kaneyoshi. However, Goda Kaneyoshi's vision was far too poor to choose someone who had been kicked out by the Ren family. Ren Haku sneered inwardly. "He's merely a captain, while I am now a major. This is too much. Previously, he was disrespectful to father, and now he is sowing discord between us and the Goda family. I see he never considered us family at all." Seeing her parents so anxious, Ren Ritsu's face flushed red with anger as she took large strides toward the outside. At the governor's mansion, I picked up a teacup and took a sip, asking, "I heard from Old Master Goda that someone among you was looking for me? General Ren, I originally intended to visit you at your residence. I didn't expect you to come in person." Kiryu Bunze didn't dare to be slacking in the slightest. The young man before him had an upright posture, steady and powerful vital energy, and a faint aura of slaughter surrounding him, completely different from that Ren Haku he had seen at the Ren residence. "No matter. Speak, what is the matter?" I waved my hand. "General Ren, this is my nephew from the Kyoto Shia family," Kiryu Bunze introduced with a smile. "Hello, General Ren." Shinjo Shia took a deep breath, feeling an unprecedented level of shock and seriousness. Given Ren Shou's identity, even if his father came in person, he would have to speak with absolute respect. Quote, "No need for formalities. Speak directly. What does the Shia family want with me?" I asked straightforwardly. Presumably, General Ren will also participate in the upcoming Star General selection and head to Kyoto. Currently, the alien threat is looming, while several Martial Saint families have been in a deadlock for a long time over governance. If we can obtain General Ren's support, the situation in Kyoto will quickly stabilize, allowing everyone to unite and resist the aliens. Shinjo Shia took a deep breath and spoke slowly. If they could obtain Ren Shou's support, even if it didn't mean securing the entire military's backing, it would account for at least half of it. My eyebrows furrowed slightly. The military only handles suppressing aliens and will not interfere in these matters. But the alien incursions are growing stronger. If the deadlock among the Martial Saint families isn't ended soon, it will only allow the enemy to take advantage of us. Shinjoshi added, I will consider this matter and speak further after reaching Kyoto, I said calmly, before turning around and leaving the governor's mansion on my own. What Shinjoshi said was not without reason, but this matter was not something I could decide alone. When I walked into a quiet alley with few people, I suddenly stopped my footsteps. Aren't you tired after following me for so long? Renritsu walked out with a face full of anger. Rinsho, you are way too much. Why did you make Goda Kaneyoshi refuse to cooperate with the Ren family? Do you even consider us your family? Renritsu walked out with a face full of anger. Rensho, you are way too much. Why did you make Goda Kaneyoshi refuse to cooperate with the Ren family? Do you even consider us your family? I furrowed my brows slightly and opened my mouth. Whether Goda Kaneyoshi cooperates with your Ren family or not, what does that have to do with me? Still playing dumb? Father said it himself. You've been staying at the Goda residence all these days. Aside from you, who else could it be? Hearing Renritsu's interrogation, I felt increasingly baffled. If you're sick, go get treated. Don't throw tantrums here. I have no interest in accompanying you. After saying that, I turned around directly, preparing to leave. The affairs of the Ren family had absolutely nothing to do with me. I didn't want to know, nor was I interested in knowing. Seeing my indifferent attitude, Renritsu was completely taken aback. When Rensho first returned to the Ren family, he was almost submissive to her and Renhaku. Even though she always squeezed him out, he still called her third sister with every sentence. But now he actually scolded her for being sick. Rensho, you ungrateful wretch. Father brought you back from the old district and gave you everything, yet now you not only fail to repay that kindness, but you also want to act against the Ren family. Renritsu shouted angrily, Ungrateful? Hearing this, I stopped my footsteps, turned around slowly, and walked step by step toward Renritsu. When I was at the Ren family, I already said it. The debt of gratitude for Renkai bringing me back then has long been paid in full. I owe nothing to anyone in your Ren family. What are you trying to do? Renritsu's pupils contracted slightly. She felt an inexplicable momentum emanating from Rensho, and her spiritual force shivered unconsciously. Didn't you want to know who I am? I will tell you right now. As soon as the words fell, a majestic spiritual force erupted from my body, and a grayish-white light appeared in my pupils. At this moment, Renritsu was completely stunned. In her eyes, my figure was constantly splitting, 1, 2, 3, until the surroundings were filled with my shadows. Not only that, but she seemed to see a projection of a certain battlefield. A tall young man dressed in tattered clothes and covered in blood, stepping on countless corpses of alien beasts, holding a long spear in his hand. That scene was thoroughly branded onto her mind. Then, she saw a blurry scene again. A group of people dressed in military uniforms and wearing military caps, carrying brilliant golden stars on their shoulders, executing a military salute to a young man. She tried hard to see the young man's face clearly, but it completely disappeared at the last moment. Quote, Who on earth is that? Could it be Rensho? Renritsu woke up. In the end, she still hadn't seen clearly, but that picture was like a nightmare, lingering in her mind and refusing to disperse. She couldn't believe that was Rensho. Her martial path stagnated right here. That figure in scene completely became her inner demon. Unless she acknowledged that figure, the person receiving a military salute under the gaze of tens of thousands in the military, was Rensho. Coming back to her senses, Renritsu realized Rensho had long since disappeared. She returned to the Ren family in a trance, still muttering in her mouth, That definitely isn't Rensho. That definitely isn't Rensho. Ritsu, what happened to you? Seeing her lost and soul-drained appearance, Renhaku couldn't help but step forward and ask. However, as if she hadn't heard anything, Renritsu walked straight inside on her own. Seeing this, Renhaku frowned and hurriedly shouted inside, Father, come take a look at little sister. She seems to be possessed. Renkai frowned upon hearing this, immediately noticing Renritsu's anomaly. With just one glance, he identified the problem, rushed forward, and a wave of pure spiritual force appeared from his palm, gently resting on Renritsu's forehead. Before long, the clarity in Renritsu's eyes gradually restored. Ritsu, what happened? Renkai asked with concern. I don't know. Renritsu shook her head wildly. She really wanted to speak the name Rensho, but the moment that thought arose, her spiritual force would crumble, and that scene from earlier would surface in her mind. The cruel battlefield where blood flowed like rivers and the radiant honor, that figure was like a devil, lingering in her mind and refusing to disperse. Seeing this, Ren Kai instantly became furious. In Jiangbei, someone actually dared to touch his daughter? They really must be tired of living. Ritsu, go to your room and rest first. Once I capture that person, I will leave them at your disposal. Ren Kai forcibly suppressed the anger in his heart and spoke. Renritsu nodded, returning to her room with panic in her eyes. Beside them, Ren Haku's face was extremely dark as he opened his mouth. What happened to little sister? Someone used spiritual force to forcibly brand a memory onto Ritsu. This memory must be terrifying to her, which is why it became her inner demon. Ren Kai's expression was distorted with anger. Hearing this, Ren Haku's face changed. What? Doesn't that mean Ritsu's martial path is very likely at an end? Who could be so malicious? A martial artist's heart was of utmost importance. Once destroyed, no matter how great the talent was, it would be useless. It hasn't reached such a severe degree yet. Once I find that person, I will slay them on the spot to cut away Ritsu's inner demon, Ren Kai said in a deep voice. By the way, father, when Ritsu came back, she was muttering Big Brother's name in her mouth. Ren Haku suddenly opened his mouth. What? It was actually that beast? He was actually cold-hearted enough to attack his own sister? Ren Kai was both shocked and enraged. Narrowing his eyes, he ordered, send someone to the Goda family and tell Rensho to roll back here tomorrow. Otherwise, when I go there in person, don't blame me for not considering our father-son relationship. All right, I'll go right away. Ren Haku nodded, agreeing immediately. In truth, I hadn't destroyed Renritsu's martial heart, but rather stated a few facts. It was simply that Renritsu was unwilling to believe them, which resulted in such a situation. However, this was also within my expectations. Renritsu looked down on me so much, so how could she believe my current identity? Whenever she accepts it, the inner demon will naturally disappear. It had to be said that Ren Kai moved very quickly. I had barely arrived at the Goda residence when the Ren family's messenger arrived right behind me. Eldest young master Rensho, the clan head, stated clearly that if you don't return tomorrow, don't blame him for not considering your father-son relationship. Hearing this, I couldn't help but laugh out loud. If he considered any father-son relationship, would he say such things? Go back and tell Ren Kai that I have no relationship whatsoever with the Ren family and will not return. If he wants to find me, tell him to come himself. Since I said we had no further relationship, I wouldn't return to the Ren family under any circumstances. I couldn't even be bothered to glance at their door. Bang. Upon receiving this news, Ren Kai slapped the table in rage. This beast. Does he really think I have no way to deal with him? Since that's the case, I will make a trip in person. After saying that, Ren Kai stood up directly and walked toward the door. Seeing this, Ren Haku immediately followed close behind. At this moment, he was also exceptionally angry. No matter what, one couldn't attack their own sister. Before long, the main hall of the Goda family became lively. Where is Rensho? Tell him to roll out and see me. The moment Ren Kai entered the door, he went straight to the point. Looking at the aggressive father and son duo, Goda Kaneyoshi's expression was not very pleasant. General Ren, this is the Goda family, not your Ren family. Haha, Ren Kai sneered and opened his mouth. Goda Kaneyoshi, under normal circumstances, I might give you a bit of face, but that beast actually dared to attack his own sister. Today, I won't give anyone face. If you dare to oppose me, Ren Kai, for his sake, then don't blame me for not remembering old ties. Hearing this, Goda Kaneyoshi's face turned even uglier. Although he could see that Ren Kai was truly enraged, his Goda family, as a martial arts family, naturally possessed some foundation of its own. Just as Goda Kaneyoshi was about to speak, a voice resounded at the doorway. Old Master Goda, since they are looking for me, don't make things difficult for yourself. I walked in calmly. Seeing me, Ren Haku immediately stepped forward, his eyes shining with cold, killing intent. Rensho, you unfilial creature. That day, you rebelled against father, and today you acted against Ritsu. Do you still have any humanity left? She is your biological sister. I sneered and spoke calmly. Don't make it sound so ugly. I didn't do anything to her. If you don't know, doesn't your father know? Besides, if I treated her as a sister, did she ever treat me as a brother? His father, Ren Kai, was so angry upon hearing these words that his breathing became unstable. But just as Rensho said, Renritsu wasn't so damaged that she could never make progress in this life. Bastard! Is that how you speak to your father? full of thug behavior. Today, let me teach you a proper lesson." With cold eyes, Renhaku stepped forward slowly. Aside, Renkai didn't stop him. After all, it was much better for Renhaku to act than for himself. They couldn't perform a father-son battle here, could they? Furthermore, he still possessed great confidence in Renhaku. As the pinnacle of Zhangbei's younger generation, dealing with a Rensho was more than enough. I glanced at him faintly, instantly discerning Renhaku's strength, an Hushin martial artist. Reaching Hushin martial artist at this age meant his martial talent was indeed good. Unfortunately, in front of me, he was nothing. Renhaku took a step forward at extreme speed, a whirlwind howling accompanied by the sound of tearing air. An Hushin martial artist's vital energy was around 1,000 points, and a single arm's force could reach 10,000 pounds. This single punch was enough to shatter a building. However, I remained composed, standing in place without any movement. This made Renhaku somewhat smug. His martial strength was among the best in Zhangbei's younger generation. It seems my good big brother is scared silly, isn't he? However, in the next instant, Renhaku's eyes suddenly froze. The punch he took pride in actually hit empty air, while my figure had vanished from the spot at an unknown moment. He hadn't even seen the opponent's movement clearly. Not only Renhaku, but even Renkai on the side felt astonished. In the next moment, the sound of breaking air resounded, and a terrifying force of vital energy permeated outward, making the air in the entire space much thicker, accompanied by a faint smell of blood. Not good. Renkai's face changed. He felt that the power behind this punch was far more than 10,000 pounds. It was likely 100,000 pounds. With Renhaku's strength, he would have to lie in bed for at least a month. Renkai wanted to save Renhaku, but before he could act, a miserable shriek rang out, with intense disbelief in his eyes. Renhaku flew backward directly and crashed onto the ground, blood spilling from the corners of his mouth. He struggled to crawl up, but his entire body's bones felt as if they were shattered, every movement bringing heart-carving pain. "Beast!" Seeing this, Renkai disregarded any father-son battle or face, reaching out his hand to grab at me. This palm stroke unmistakably came from a Grandmaster powerhouse. If Renhaku's punch could easily shatter a building, then Renkai's palm was enough to level an entire city. The strength of a commander guarding a region could well be imagined. However, facing this palm, I advanced instead of retreating, blasting out a palm toward Renkai as well. A loud noise resounded, kicking up a gust of dust. The entire Goda family seemed to shake slightly. "Renkai, I have no relationship with you anymore. Where does this beast talk come from? In my view, you are the biggest beast here. What, do you want me to make your actions public?" After blasting out that palm, I spoke with a cold expression. At this moment, Renkai was thoroughly shocked. His palm was actually received, and after exchanging that single blow, even his arm began to tremble. What's more, the momentum he felt from Rensho just now was like a deep abyss. "Rebellious son, you dare to resist?" Renkai questioned in shock and anger. Shocked by Rensho's strength and angered by Rensho's attitude, although he had witnessed Rensho's stubborn attitude back at the Ren residence, he had assumed that Rensho was merely unable to accept handing over his military merits, which was why he dared to talk back. What he truly hadn't expected was that Rensho actually dared to raise a hand against him. One must know that in the past, if he was the slightest bit displeased, Rensho would immediately drop to his knees on the ground in total obedience. Now he was rebellious to this extent, even daring to fight him. "Are you sick in the head too? I have already severed all ties with the Ren family. When you call out rebellious son, with every sentence, are you calling the one lying on the ground?" I opened my mouth coldly, thinking, you already raised your hand to hit me, so if I didn't fight back, wouldn't I be an idiot? Hearing this, Renkai finally noticed Renhaku lying on the ground with faint breathing. His expression instantly changed slightly. Good, good, good. I really didn't expect that beneath that submissive exterior back then, there actually lurked a beast. I truly regret bringing you back. I should have let you fight with wild dogs for food in the old district. Renkai shook with rage. But from that palm stroke earlier, he had genuinely felt Rensho's strength. If they truly fought, it was hard to say who would win or lose. Furthermore, if he let loose, the entire city would be drawn over. As a prominent figure, he had to consider the Ren family's face. And secondly, he feared his schemes would be exposed by Rensho. which would inevitably affect his reputation. Hearing these words, Goto Kanayoshi couldn't help but step forward and say, "General Ren, your words are wrong. Years ago when the alien beasts invaded and you lost your son outside, it was your own fault to begin with. As the saying goes, to give birth without raising is to fail as a human. Bringing him back was your responsibility as parents, not a favor to him." Hearing this, Renkai's face turned blue and white, and in the end, he could only snort coldly before hurriedly checking on Ren Haku's condition. "What a cruel heart you have. Do you know your younger brother is about to take the martial exam soon? You are destroying his future." After checking, Renkai spoke in an extremely cold tone. "You were calling me a beast with every sentence earlier, and now I'm a brother again? Why don't you ask him if he ever called me big brother once during the days I was in the Ren family?" Showing no mercy, I exposed the truth directly. Ever since I returned to the Ren family, Ren Ritsu and Ren Haku held nothing but disdain for me, let alone calling me big brother. How could Renkai not know these things? Yet he had consistently turned a blind eye to them. In the end, Renkai said nothing, snorted coldly with a dark face, and then left the Goto family carrying Ren Haku. Upon returning to the Ren family, Ren-I saw Ren Haku covered in blood and was instantly pale with shock. What happened? How did he get injured so severely? Who else but that good son of yours, acting with such venomous cruelty? Now, with the martial exam approaching, he beat Ren Haku into a critical condition. I see he deliberately wants to stop his brother from succeeding. Renkai was full of fury. If Ren Shou's strength hadn't been so bizarre, he would have subdued him on the spot and made him kneel before the Ren family door for 3 days and 3 nights. But why was Ren Shou's strength so formidable, so strong that even he felt pressure? Although Renkai was puzzled, he had no time to think deeply about it, as Ren Haku was still lying there half dead. "What? You're saying Ren Haku's injuries were inflicted by Ren Shou?" Ren-I took out a spiritual pill and stuffed it into Ren Haku's mouth, her face showing a look of shock. Although Ren Haku's injuries were severe, recovering before the martial exam was not impossible. After all, the Sioux group was specifically in the business of researching drugs. Who else could it be besides him? That little beast's wings have grown full, and he even dares to raise a hand against me. The more Renkai thought about it, the angrier he became, nearly stomping his feet. "Did you do something to provoke Ren Shou again?" Ren-I sighed helplessly. She had originally thought that in a few days, after Ren Shou's anger dissipated, he would return, but she hadn't expected things to get worse and worse. "Provoke him? I was the one provoked by him," Renkai glared, feeling quite displeased. Ren-I spoke no further. After checking on Ren Haku's condition, she felt relieved and said, "Although the injuries are heavy, they won't affect the martial exam." Hearing this, Renkai let out a long breath, but his anger remained unappeased. "This unfilial creature is set on severing ties with our Ren family. Since that's the case, let him fend for himself," Renkai said coldly. Ren-I sat on the sofa without saying a word. Although she wasn't present today, she could tell from Renkai's rage that if this continued, father and son would turn against each other completely sooner or later. As a mother, she already felt she owed Ren Shou. At this moment, Ren-I had a feeling in her heart that if she didn't do something soon, her eldest son would truly leave her forever. 100 miles away from Lingui City, a massive mountain range stood ahead, and a small village nestled at the foot of the mountain. A burly man carrying farming tools was preparing to head home. "I heard a subterranean cavern appeared in the mountains recently, and alien beasts have been spotted. No wonder! I was wondering why I felt uneasy these past few days." "What's the panic? The Demon Suppression Army has already arrived, and the leader is at least a Grandmaster." Whoa! A Grandmaster martial artist? It said a single punch from them can blow up a mountaintop. With such a figure here, how could he... Before he could finish his sentence, a massive roar suddenly resounded. Plumes of dark smoke rose from the mountains, blocking out the sun, while the voice of the Demon Suppression Army echoed out, "Evacuate quickly! Everyone evacuate!" A lieutenant colonel from the Demon Suppression Army swept out from the deep mountains, landing at the village entrance with a stern and solemn expression. "Sir, what happened? Why are you suddenly making us evacuate?" a burly man asked in confusion. The lieutenant colonel said coldly, "The alien beasts inside are beyond our imagination. If you don't want to die, leave quickly." Hearing that even the Demon Suppression Army couldn't handle it, Several burly men immediately scattered and ran. Contact the military headquarters immediately. This subterranean cavern is higher than S-class. Request more troops to suppress it, and request mentalists to re-evaluate the cavern's rank. After speaking, the lieutenant colonel headed back toward the deep mountains. In the basin surrounded by deep mountains, there was a pitch-black, bottomless pit, and alien beasts were crawling out of the subterranean cavern one by one on the grand field of sacred martial arts in Kyoto. Kanade closed her eyes, her slender eyelashes trembling slightly. Her spiritual world was grayish-white, with all people and objects zooming in frame by frame, placing the entire school within her observation range. Spiritual force has finally broken through to level 7. Kanade opened her eyes, her clear eyes revealing a hint of joy. Spiritual force was a required course for martial artists. It could not only sense hidden enemies, but also slow down the opponent's movements and even predict the enemy's next move. Kanade! At this moment, a figure walked over slowly, carrying the golden star glow of a general on his shoulder, unmistakably a major general. Teacher, why are you here? Kanade looked at the visitor with some surprise. I just received a mission to go to Lingwu City to survey a subterranean cavern. Do you want to come back with me to take a look? After several days of recuperation, the toxins in my body were completely cleared, and my vital energy was brimming over, just one step away from the true dragon realm. However, breaking through to the true dragon realm required true dragon fluid to wash the entire body to strengthen the sinews and cells. Although requesting true dragon fluid was just a matter of a single sentence with my current identity, this level of true dragon fluid was too low grade to fully unleash my potential. I had to find a way to get some S-class true dragon fluid. Host, Ren Shou, age 22 realm, peak grandmaster, vital energy, 100,000 plus, current reward level, level 7. I glanced roughly at the panel. My vital energy had not only restored to its peak, but had even made progress. Closing the panel and stepping out of the room, Goda Kaniyoshi looked at my condition and smiled, saying, "Young friend, although your injuries are fully healed, the toxins are also completely cleared, but there is still a possibility of relapse." Hearing this, I furrowed my brows slightly. Old master, the toxins have already been thoroughly cleared. Where does the talk of a relapse come from? Goda Kaniyoshi shook his head slightly and said, "The poison you suffered from is a first in human history, originating from the starry skies. Taking precautions can't be wrong." These words were indeed true. Those alien races were far too bizarre, so I nodded in agreement. Goda Kaniyoshi continued, "There is a medication used to protect your heart channels, which will also alter your internal genes to generate antibodies, making you completely immune to such toxins in the future, and even enhancing your regenerative functions." Hearing this, I was stunned for a moment. Enhance regenerative functions? Could it be regrowing severed limbs? As far as I know, even Marshall Saint powerhouses haven't been heard to possess regenerative means. Goda Kaniyoshi shook his head, as if guessing what I was thinking. It hasn't reached the level you're thinking of, merely accelerating it slightly. He then took out a porcelain white medicine bottle. If you can absorb it well, perhaps the effect will be even stronger. I nodded, taking the medicine bottle. In that case, thank you for the trouble. I then walked into the training room, took out an azure pill, and swallowed it in one gulp. In the next moment, a piercing pain transmitted from all over my body. This pill possessed extremely strong destructive power, continuously shattering my internal gene chains while brimming with immense vitality, stimulating my cells to grow incessantly. I operated my breathing technique and entered a wondrous state of enlightenment, completely immersing myself in this artistic conception of dry wood meeting spring. My martial talent was extraordinarily high to begin with, and with 3 years of system refinement, it could no longer be described as just a genius. Even calling it monstrous would be an understatement. An hour later, roar! I snapped my eyes open, surrounded by swirling wild winds, lightning, and the intertwining of ice and fire. Dry wood meeting spring interpreted the wonder of vitality, and from within it, I had comprehended another martial path, Grandmaster level regeneration. I took a deep breath, intense disbelief still lingering in my eyes. Even in the martial epic, such a thing was unheard of. With this martial skill, no matter how severe the injury, it could heal extremely fast. I just didn't know if it could regrow severed limbs. My mind moved, and a small knife surfaced beside me, instantly cutting a slit across my palm. However, before blood could flow out, the wound was already healing. I couldn't help but get excited in my heart. This effect was too sky-defying. It truly seemed capable of achieving regrowing severed limbs. Just then, my phone rang again. I glanced at it and chose to block the number directly. At the same time, not far from the skies above Lingwu City, a specially made helicopter was flying over at extreme speed. Hearing the sound, a lieutenant colonel walked out from the military camp. This person was the eldest son of the Ren family, Rennie's nephew, and captain of the 72nd Vanguard team of the Zhangbei Demon Suppression Army. As the helicopter landed smoothly, a woman wearing a light blue military uniform and alloy combat boots walked down slowly, followed by a young girl. "I am the person in charge of this area, Captain Ren. Are you here to inspect the subterranean cavern?" Captain Ren stepped forward and reported. Kirishima Rika nodded slightly. "What is the current situation of the subterranean cavern?" Captain Ren's expression turned grave. When the cavern first appeared, it was classified as S-Class, but a few days ago, a Grandmaster-level alien beast suddenly appeared, and alien beasts emerged from time to time. Currently, the exact number and level are unknown, and our mentalist martial artists cannot observe from the outside, as something inside seems to be obstructing spiritual force. Normal subterranean caverns could be observed from the outside by mentalist martial artists, but this was the first time she had encountered one where spiritual force could not penetrate. There are two possibilities. First, the number of alien beasts inside is too vast, forming a domain that interferes with spiritual force. Second, the level of the alien beasts inside exceeds Grandmaster. Kirishima Rika spoke with a frown. Hearing this, Captain Ren's face changed dramatically. Exceeds Grandmaster? Doesn't that mean there is a true dragon-level alien beast inside the subterranean cavern? One must know, the strongest person in Zhangbei is merely peak Grandmaster Ren Kai. Captain Ren instantly realized the severity of the problem. Is there a way to determine the grade? If it exceeds S-Class, we need to hurry up and make preparations. "Prepare a helicopter to take me above the subterranean cavern," Kirishima Rika said. Before long, a helicopter flew slowly toward the depths of the mountain range. At this moment, the subterranean cavern was much larger than before, wisps of black gas floating out from within, surrounded by the remains of alien beasts. After Kirishima Rika arrived overhead, her expression instantly grew much graver. This place was far more bizarre than she had imagined. When her spiritual force probed downward, it was likewise blocked by an invisible force. Strange, I actually can't probe it either? Kirishima Rika's brows furrowed slightly. What? Hearing this, Captain Ren's face changed completely. This was a genuine mentalist grandmaster whose sensing range reached 100 miles. If even she couldn't probe it, just how terrifying was this subterranean cavern? Currently, what is the highest level martial artist in the forest? Kirishima Rika pondered for a moment and asked. Level 7 Grandmaster, which is me, Captain Ren replied. Not enough. I need at least a Grandmaster level martial artist to go down with me and inspect the subterranean cavern's rank from the inside. Kirishima Rika shook her head and said, No! Captain Ren rejected without even thinking. The cavern's rank is unknown. This is far too dangerous. Grandmaster martial artists are hard to come by. Each one is a pillar of humanity. If any accident occurs, it would be a huge loss. Moreover, mentalist grandmasters are even rarer. If anything happens to you, I can't take the blame either. Then let's head back first. I'll think of other ways. Kirishima Rika withdrew her spiritual force, a trace of helplessness surfacing on her face. Captain Ren sighed. If there really is no other way, I can only apply to the military headquarters, though the chances of success aren't high. Kirishima Rika nodded. I will be in Zhangbei these few days. If there is news, remember to notify me. Teacher, if the application isn't successful, how will this subterranean cavern be handled? On the way to Lingwu City, Kanade asked out of curiosity. A nuclear strike to completely destroy the subterranean cavern. Kirishima Rika was silent for a moment before speaking. If the rank cannot be surveyed, humanity cannot make full preparations, and the risk factor remains unknown. The best method is complete destruction. However, a nuclear strike can only temporarily clear the alien beasts in the cavern. while also causing the fissure deep within to expand, after which alien beasts will reappear with increased numbers and levels, so unless as a last resort, this won't be done. Hearing this, Kanade said with a face full of worry, if that's the case, Zhengbei will turn into a new battlefield and no longer be suitable for human habitation. So it's best to survey the cavern's rank and make proper preparations. Kirishima Rika's tone was particularly deep. I heard your grandfather arranged a marriage for you. Are you planning to meet him during this trip back? Sensing the gloomy atmosphere, Kirishima Rika spoke jokingly. Kanade's face flushed red. Teacher, stop teasing me. Don't worry. You are a genius of our Kyoto Sacred Martial Institute. If that person doesn't satisfy me, I'll be the first to disagree. Talking along the way, the two soon arrived at the Goda family in Lingwu City. Grandfather Goda Kanayoshi, who was tending to flowers and plants, shook all over upon hearing the voice, after which a genuine smile appeared on his face. Kanade, you're finally back. As a family of martial arts, both of his sons had died on the alien beast battlefield, leaving behind Kanade as the sole bloodline. Goda Kanayoshi felt extremely guilty and lost about this, wanting Kanade to inherit his arts rather than continuing down the path of martial arts. Perhaps heaven was merciful, allowing the Goda family to produce a genius. Kanade not only possessed great talent in arts, but her martial talent was equally outstanding, and 2 years ago, she was admitted to the Sacred Martial Institute with excellent martial scores. Yet Goda Kanayoshi still couldn't rest easy. After all, Kanade was the Goda family's sole bloodline. Now, seeing his granddaughter return safely, that kind of heartfelt kinship couldn't be described in words. This was also where Goda Kanayoshi couldn't understand Renkai. His son served in the military for 3 years, yet upon returning, he suffered such grievances. Grandfather, this is my teacher, who came to Zhengbei on a mission and dropped by to visit you. Kanade supported Goda Kanayoshi into the main hall, introducing her. Hello, Grandfather Goda. My name is Kirishima Rika, currently serving as a mentalist instructor at the Sacred Martial Institute. Kirishima Rika said with a smile. Goda Kanayoshi nodded with a smile, though he was inevitably quite surprised. The other party looked to be only around 28 or 29 years old, yet she was already a major general. However, Grandfather Goda didn't show too much emotion. After all, there was an even more sky-defying one at home. At the Martial Institute, how is it? Has anyone bullied you? Although your grandfather is old, I still have some connections. If anyone dares to bully you, just tell me. Kirishima Rika watched this scene quietly, thoughtfully refraining from disturbing them, and left the main hall silently. Just as she wanted to walk around, she suddenly spotted a familiar figure, standing frozen in place. Walking in the courtyard, I suddenly noticed a gaze, and turning around, I saw Kirishima Rika looking at me with immense shock. This person seemed a bit familiar, but I couldn't remember where I had seen her. General Ren! I didn't expect to meet you here! Realizing the situation, Kirishima Rika spoke with a trembling tone. Do we know each other? I raised an eyebrow, asking with a strange look in my eyes. You don't remember? Half a year ago in the Eastern Third War Zone, you hauled a helicopter up from the abyss. Hearing these words, I fell into deep thought. With a precise time and location, remembering became much easier. It's you! I was wondering why you looked a bit familiar. Half a year ago, on the Eastern front lines, a helicopter was affected by the abyss and almost sucked in. At that time, I had just finished a mission, and on my way back, I sensed the abnormal movement in the abyss, so I went to investigate and casually saved a helicopter, and Kirishima Rika was one of the people inside. Yes! Back then, I didn't get the chance to thank you properly. Kirishima Rika nodded, somewhat pleasantly surprised. The time they met back then wasn't long, but Rensho's outline was clearly branded into her mind. The scene where he jumped directly into the cavern and lifted the helicopter up was fresh in her memory even now, especially after seeing the brilliant golden stars on his military uniform, making it impossible to forget. From that moment on, Rensho was like an idol to her. It was just a casual effort, but what are you doing here? I waved my hand and asked. Kirishima Rika explained the whole story. So that's how it is? Meaning the level of that subterranean cavern hasn't been defined yet? I asked thoughtfully. Yes, now we can only find a way to probe it from the inside. Otherwise, the military headquarters will most likely deploy nuclear weapons, Kirishima Rika said helplessly. I nodded slightly, but wanting to probe from the inside, the military headquarters probably wouldn't relent. After all, if an accident occurred, the loss would be too great. If you want to go down, I can go with you. I said indifferently. Now recovered from heavy injuries, with my strength advanced and having comprehended a new martial skill, my hands felt a bit eager for action. Really? Kirishima Rika's expression turned excited, but soon revealed a trace of worry. Shouldn't we inform the military headquarters? After all, this cavern is too dangerous. With me around, what are you afraid of? Besides, can't I represent the military headquarters? I chuckled lightly and spoke. If anyone else said this, Kirishima Rika probably wouldn't even glance at them, but the person before her indeed had the qualifications. The golden stars on that military uniform were no fake. In that case, when do we set off? Kirishima Rika spoke with a face full of anticipation. She never imagined she would actually have the chance to fight side by side with her idol. Right now, I'll go tell the old master. After saying that, I walked straight into the main hall. Just as I walked in, I saw Kanade sitting beside Goda Kaniyoshi. Kanade likewise looked over. A tall and upright man with handsome features was standing at the doorway. Old master, I'm going out to handle some matters, and we'll be back soon, I spoke calmly. Go ahead, remember to come back for dinner tonight, Goda Kaniyoshi said with a beaming smile upon seeing this scene. I nodded, then turned around and walked outside. Once Rensho left, Goda Kaniyoshi looked at Kanade and smiled. How about it? Your grandfather's eye for people isn't bad, right? Hearing this, Kanade's face turned red instantly, and she said nothing. After stepping out of the Goda family's main gate, just as I was preparing to head to the subterranean cavern, a white car pulled up slowly by the roadside. A noble-looking Ren-E stepped down from the car, calling out softly, Rensho! I frowned, ignoring her completely, and walking straight forward. Ren-E's heart trembled instantly, her tone low as she spoke. Rensho, are you still blaming me? It has nothing to do with you. Why should I blame you? Madam, you seem a bit strange. Looking at Ren-E blocking my path, I finished speaking with a calm face and walked away with giant strides. Many words Ren-E had prepared were stuck in her throat, unable to speak because Rensho's gaze was far too cold, just like looking at a stranger. This made Ren-E's heart feel as though it were fiercely stabbed by a needle. What pained her the most was that in Rensho's calm tone, there wasn't the slightest blame or grievance. That tone, devoid of any emotion, told her that her son had truly become a stranger. Ren-E sat in the car with a pale face, suddenly at a loss. She had thought Rensho was merely unable to accept things temporarily. When he left the Ren family, she thought he would return once his anger passed. She thought her eldest son would be as submissive as before, but now, the heart-carving pain inside told her that she was truly going to lose this son forever. Ren-E took a deep breath to adjust her emotions, looked in the direction where Rensho left, and drove forward. She felt she had to speak clearly today and regain this son who had been away from home for years. Captain Ren had just reported to the military headquarters, and without a doubt, was rejected. Under unknown circumstances, the military headquarters could not act rashly. Captain Ren walked out of the military camp feeling frustrated, thinking to himself, not allowing this, not allowing that, how long can we guard this subterranean cavern? Captain Ren, come over here. Just then, Kirishima Rika waved at him, speaking excitedly. Captain Ren's eyes lit up. What's wrong? Is there a way? A chief from the military headquarters came, and he will enter the cavern with me, Kirishima Rika said softly. Captain Ren looked toward the back, his expression turning bizarre. The chief from the military headquarters isn't this young guy, is he? Why does he look a bit familiar? Didn't you hear? Prepare a helicopter to send us over! Seeing him frozen in place, Kirishima Rika gave him a kick. I'll prepare it right away! Coming back to his senses, Captain Ren spoke hurriedly. He didn't think too much. Kirishima Rika was a major general, so someone she called a chief definitely held an extraordinary position. Soon, a helicopter set off toward the depths of the mountain range. Just as we approached the subterranean cavern, I sensed many formidable Ore, all at the Grandmaster level. It seemed it was indeed far more than S-class. Quote, "Two chiefs, we've arrived. Do we need to lower the altitude?" A member of the Demon Suppression Army asked. I glanced down. No need! Saying that, I grabbed Kirishima Rika and leapt down, jumping into the subterranean cavern under the shocked gazes of several people. Holy shit! Several Demon Suppression Army members were completely dumbfounded. They just jumped in like that? As expected of chiefs, badass enough. A damp environment, a dark space carrying an oppressive feeling of suffocation. With a thought from me, flames surged around us, barely illuminating the surroundings. How is it? Can you probe it? I walked a few steps forward, and several weak alien beasts were directly burned to ashes. No, this is only the first layer, and spiritual force still can't penetrate deep, Kirishima Rika said after trying. I nodded, then continued deeper. Normal subterranean caverns didn't exceed 40 layers at most, and the deeper down, the higher the level of alien beasts. It wasn't until the 20th layer that I stopped. It seems this subterranean cavern is at least sulfur monosulfide class. Grandmaster level alien beasts appeared at the 20th layer. I spoke calmly. Not far ahead, dozens of Grandmaster level alien beasts were eyeing us like tigers eyeing their prey. I took a step forward, the long blade in my hand wrapped in flames as it slashed out horizontally. Wherever the blade light passed, the alien beasts were directly sliced into pieces and burned to ashes by the flames. Ding! Killed an alien beast? Dropped a vial of blood-replenishing soup? Ding! Killed an alien beast, dropped 1 year of cultivation. I ignored the voices in my mind. The rewards dropped from Grandmaster level alien beasts weren't of much help to my improvement. I'm afraid it's more than that. There are indeed Grandmaster level alien beasts inside, but on the 30th layer, Kirishima Rika frowned with an extremely grave expression. In that case, there are even higher level alien beasts further down? Kirishima Rika nodded. Indeed, but the specific situation won't be known until 10 layers down. At this moment, Kirishima Rika understood why it couldn't be surveyed from the outside, because intense spiritual fluctuations were emanating from the 40th layer. Alien beasts were mutated from abyss infection and possessed no spiritual force, so those spiritual fluctuations likely came from starry sky aliens. If that was the case, the trouble would be huge. Then let's go 10 layers down. Grandmaster alien beasts can still be dealt with, I said indifferently. But I can't guarantee what's on the 40th layer once danger occurs. Kirishima Rika was full of worry. As long as it's not at the Marshall Saint level, it's fine. My expression remained unchanged as I spoke. After hesitating for a moment, Kirishima Rika nodded. Soon, the two arrived at the 30th layer. Knowing the danger here, Kirishima Rika quickly released her spiritual force to probe. While I was responsible for dealing with these alien beasts comparable to Grandmasters, 10 seconds later, Kirishima Rika's terrified voice rang out. Not good. This cavern exceeds 3 S-class. Retreat quickly. Blade light flashed as I sliced open an alien beast and turned around abruptly. Exceeds 3 S-class? There's a true dragon-level alien beast below? Yes, but I'm not sure if it's an alien beast. Its spiritual force is extremely strong, Kirishima Rika said with a grave face. Are there exact numbers? I went silent for a moment, my expression showing not too much change. Possessing dozens of Grandmaster level stats, I didn't flinch even when facing a true dragon level entity. Thus, after knowing the situation, far from being afraid, I was actually somewhat excited. Still, I had to clarify the situation. If the numbers were vast, it would be troublesome. Kirishima Rika shook her head. The spiritual force fluctuations inside were too strong to probe accurately. Hearing this, I furrowed my brows slightly, hesitating over whether to head down. Just then, a huge black shadow suddenly leaped out not far away, like a giant whale leaping out from the deep sea, opening its bloody maw, wanting to swallow the two of us whole. The appearance of the black shadow made the entire subterranean cavern tremble. Countless loose stones slid down, and the cavern entrance above was nearly about to be sealed. Go! Seeing this, my eyes lit up. This alien beast wasn't hard to deal with, but I had to send Kirishima Rika out first. With her around, I couldn't fight with all my strength. All right. Kirishima Rika knew clearly in her heart that staying behind would only make her a burden, so she immediately leapt up toward the cavern entrance. A hurricane surfaced around my body, and pushing out a palm, the massive thrust caused Kirishima Rika's figure to disappear rapidly. At the same time, that bloody maw arrived before me, swallowing me along with the corpses and loose stones on the ground. With the appearance of this alien beast, all the alien beasts above went into a rampage, and the entire subterranean cavern collapsed at a rate visible to the naked eye. Not good. The alien beasts are rampaging. Quick, notify the military headquarters. Seeing this, the team members on the helicopter sank in heart. The two chiefs were still inside. Should we notify the captain to send people over? A team member added. Just at this moment, a figure leapt up from the cavern, tightly grabbing the landing gear of the helicopter. "Chief, what happened? Where is the other chief?" a team member asked. Kirishima Rika's face grew solemn as never before. "Head back to notify the military headquarters first." Captain Ren had also sensed the anomaly in the subterranean cavern, just as he was preparing to head over to investigate. Kirishima Rika walked straight toward him, saying in an unquestionable tone, "Notify the military headquarters. The cavern rank exceeds 3S. The chief is still down there, so have the military hurry up and dispatch people to rescue him." Hearing this, Captain Ren was startled, immediately walking into the military camp to report the situation. Xiangbei Military Headquarters, Yanwu Building. News came from up front. The cavern rank exceeds 3S and is very likely to erupt. Captain Ren requests immediate reinforcements. In addition, there is a chief from the military headquarters inside the cavern. A division commander put down the phone with a solemn face. "Dispatch the 3rd Front Line, the 9th Front Line, and the 358th Division, all to the subterranean cavern." Upon hearing the rank, rare worry appeared on Renkai's cold, stern face. "What about that chief down there? They requested people to be dispatched down there to rescue him," the division commander asked with a nod. Renkai rubbed the center of his brows. "How can there be a battlefield without death? If it really comes to that day, even if you make me go down in person, I wouldn't say a single no." After Captain Ren received the military headquarters response, he immediately explained the situation to Kirishima Rika. "What? The Zhangbei military headquarters actually gave this kind of solution? Don't they know who is down there? If an accident happens to him, do you know how big of a loss it will be for the military headquarters?" Kirishima Rika almost lost control of her emotions, but calming down to think, the military headquarters' solution wasn't without reason. The cavern rank was too high and currently in a state of rampage, while the strongest person in the Zhangbei military headquarters was merely peak Grandmaster Renkai. Going into the cavern with this level of strength was no different from seeking death. Right now, the only way was to report to the general military headquarters and have them dispatch strong powerhouses over. However, even for a true dragon-level martial artist, it would take half a day to arrive. Just then, a noisy sound came from outside the military camp. "Madam, it's currently in a state of combat readiness. You cannot enter." Captain Ren frowned and walked outside. Seeing the visitor, he asked with a face full of confusion, "Madam, what are you doing here? I'm looking for my son Ren Shou. Tell them to move out of the way." The visitor was none other than the lady of Zhangbei's Ren family, head of the Su group Ren Yi. Captain Ren looked at her with a bizarre expression. The eldest son of the Ren family who had a marriage alliance with his sister, Ren Shou? But hadn't he disappeared 3 years ago? "Madam, did you come to the wrong place?" Ren Yi ignored his words, walking straight toward Kirishima Rika not far away, and asking, "Where is my son? Isn't he with you?" Once these words came out, Captain Ren behind her was completely dumbfounded. Wasn't the person beside Kirishima Rika that chief? He was Ren Shou? How did Ren Shou become a chief? Kirishima Rika pursed her lips and said, "He's still inside the subterranean cavern." Hearing this, Ren Yi's face instantly turned deathly pale, her voice trembling. "Did you notify Renkai?" "I notified him. The military headquarters' response was to dispatch troops to suppress it and not to go down rashly." Captain Ren was still full of bewilderment and disbelief. "Bring the phone over. I'll make the call." Ren Yi changed her usual attitude, speaking in an unquestionable manner. "I understand your feelings, but the military headquarters has already decided. Please consider the big picture, madam." Captain Ren hesitated and reminded her, though he was shocked by Ren Shou's identity, he didn't want Zhangbei to lose several grandmasters because of this either. Ren Yi swept a cold glance at him. "I'm calling Ren Kai. We don't need the military headquarters, resources. The person down there is his biological son. Others can ignore him, but he, Ren Kai, cannot." Zhangbei military headquarters Ren Kai picked up the phone, his brows furrowing and relaxing at times. "The military headquarters orders cannot be changed. If you want me to go as a father, from beginning to end, my Ren Kai's son has only ever been one person, and that is Ren Haku." After the phone was hung up, Ren Yi stood frozen in place, unable to believe that Ren Kai would actually watch his biological son die with open eyes. A foul, decaying smell transmitted through the air. Emitting a light blue glow around my body, I sized up the surroundings with my gaze. After stabilizing my mind, I stabbed the alloy combat blade downward and dragged it across horizontally. Swinch! The disemboweled alien beast let out a miserable shriek, falling onto the ground without further movement. The spiritual fluctuations were growing stronger and stronger. It seemed an alien race truly existed below. I frowned and glanced at the system rewards. There was still nothing that satisfied me. Since I came down, I had to gain something, otherwise wouldn't it be a wasted trip? As I went all the way down, the alien beasts grew stronger and stronger, but I didn't choose to resolve them. There were too many of them, and I was too lazy to provoke them. My goal was that alien race entity comparable to the true dragon level. Before long, I arrived at the 40th layer. Scattered across the ground were puddles of mercury-like liquid containing powerful spiritual force. I sized up the place in surprise. This was actually a mithril mine? This was great stuff for cultivating spiritual force. A small bottle on the outside would cost an arm and a leg. Just then, the space ahead twisted slightly, and a cluster of black shadows appeared out of thin air, its face and body completely wrapped in black cloth, 2 pea-sized green eyes glowing with faint light. It was actually the corpse race. Then, everything could be explained. I held the combat blade horizontally in front of me. The corpse race came from the depths of the starry skies, possessing extremely strong spiritual force, capable of lodging spiritual force into corpses to control them, somewhat similar to borrowing a corpse to return a soul. Furthermore, the corpse race was extremely hard to kill. Even if their physical body was ruined, they could continue on to another physical body. Therefore, the best way to kill the corpse race was spiritual erasure. The scent on your body is so familiar. The black shadow's pea-sized green eyes blinked once, and then its entire body jolted. It's you! You actually didn't die? Damn lizard race, didn't they say you wouldn't live past a month? Truly a group of useless trash? You remembered? I sneered, after which flames surged while hurricane, lightning, and frost surfaced beside me. You think you can kill me? I heard long ago that your physical body is special, and now you actually delivered yourself to my door. With your body, my status can rise again. The black shadow grinned and said, I ignored its nonsense. With a flash of blade light, I vanished in the subterranean cavern like a phantom. Let me see what capability you have. The black shadow snorted coldly, the surrounding space twisting violently while the mithril on the ground evaporated rapidly. But soon a look of terror appeared in its eyes. Its spiritual force was sealed in this space, and the killing intent was like a hanging waterfall, pressing down so hard that it could barely move. Killing intent domain? You are merely a Grandmaster domain. How can it be so strong? Your hide is really thick. A true dragon-level creature is indeed hard to kill. I clicked my tongue. Under the domain suppression, it was actually hard to break through the opponent's defense. I advise you not to waste your effort. I have already recalled all the alien beasts in the cavern. If you charge out now, you still have a slender chance of survival. Hearing this, I nodded in agreement. That makes sense, but I'm not listening. Immediately after, hurricane, lightning, and fire unleashed round after round. One had to know. Behind every visual effect was an ultimate move regarded by Grandmaster martial artists as a trump card. Taking Grandmaster ultimate moves to the face, even a true dragon level couldn't handle it. Report, the alien beasts seem to have all retreated, a demon suppression army member reported loudly. Hearing this, Captain Ren was full of confusion. What's the situation? Why would the rampaging alien beast suddenly go back? He had never seen such a thing before. Hearing their conversation, Ren-Yi's face turned deathly pale. The alien beasts returning to their nest was a good thing for Jiangbei, but the probability of Ren-Shou surviving grew even smaller. Move out of the way! I want to go over! Desperate, Ren-Yi wanted to head to the cavern entrance, regardless of everything. Quote, Madam, please calm down first. Under current circumstances, going over is to no avail. Captain Ren hurriedly stopped her and persuaded. The spiritual force below seems to be weakening. Kirishima Rika on the side suddenly spoke up. Did you probe Ren-Shou? Ren-Yi asked hurriedly upon hearing this. Kirishima Rika shook her head. Not yet, but at this rate of decay, in another half hour I'll be able to probe the entire cavern. Hearing these words, the hope that had just ignited in Ren-Yi was instantly doused again. Looking at Captain Ren, she said stubbornly, Prepare a helicopter to take me into the cavern. Captain Ren wanted to stop her, but seeing Ren-Yi's attitude so rigid, he couldn't refuse further. After all, she was the commander's wife. Ren-Yi took a helicopter to the top of the subterranean cavern. The surrounding alien beasts had all disappeared, and no trace of life could be seen in the dark cavern opening. She didn't dare to believe it, using her spiritual force to probe downward into the subterranean cavern. After dozens of Grandmaster-level bombardments, the Black Shadow's physical body was beaten into a battered state. "Ren Shou, sooner or later you will die in our hands!" After dropping these harsh words, a light blue small sphere flew out from the top of its head. The sphere was the corpse race's spiritual essence. Narrowing my eyes, I slashed the blade light carrying various energies toward the light sphere. The moment it made contact, the light sphere broke apart into pieces. Ding! Killed an alien beast, dropped 1 vial of S-Class True Dragon Fluid, triggered double rewards. Dropped True Dragon level martial art, Immortal Cell Cultivation. Hearing the system prompt, my heart surged with joy. The system was truly thoughtful. Right now my realm was loosened, marking the critical period for a breakthrough, and the system rewarded S-Class True Dragon Fluid while dropping a True Dragon level martial art. Immortal Cell compresses vital energy into cells, allowing a single point to possess endless vital energy. In battle, immortal cells would continuously supply energy like stars that never extinguish, and cultivating it to the limit could achieve true immortality. I couldn't help but take a deep breath, as expected of a reward from the system. How many cells did a human body have? If all of them were converted, to what extent would combat strength skyrocket? However, right now was not the time to think about this. These alien beasts were numerous, with Grandmaster alien beasts alone exceeding 100. Getting out wasn't easy unless I broke through Grandmaster. Thinking of this, I sat down directly, taking out the True Dragon Fluid and smearing it over my body. The function of True Dragon Fluid was secondary potential development. The higher the grade, the greater the degree of development. Before long, it was completely absorbed. My vital energy and strength nearly doubled, but I hadn't fully broken through to the True Dragon rank yet, so I could only be called a half-step True Dragon. However, a new trouble was encountered. While absorbing the spiritual force in the Mithril, I was affected by the remnant spiritual force of the Corpse Race, falling into a nightmare. This was a unique ability of the Corpse Race, capable of invading a martial artist's spiritual force, creating illusions, and amplifying internal fear. If one couldn't walk out, they would go insane right here. However, my martial path was extraordinarily firm. 3 years of campaign had made my heart as solid as rock, so this kind of nightmare was not enough to affect me. At the same time, Ren Yi, above the subterranean cavern, was still searching hard. 3 to 5 minutes later, a smile of joy appeared on Ren Yi's face. "Found him, he's fine." However, she soon realized something was wrong. At this moment, Ren Shou had his eyes closed tightly, as if resisting something. After inspecting carefully, Ren Yi determined that Ren Shou had entered an illusion. Knowing the horror of illusions, she had no time to think much. Her spiritual force continuously contacting Ren Shou's spiritual force, wanting to enter the illusion and pull Ren Shou out. The base gates let out thump-thump impact sounds, and deep growls echoed out, "Hold on, reinforcements from the military headquarters will arrive soon." A military officer shouted while dealing with alien beasts. Behind him, a 10-person vanguard team was fighting with alien beasts. Among them, a young man with a handsome face held a long blade, frozen in place. Suddenly, an alien beast swooped straight toward the young man. "Dodge, damn it!" Seeing this scene, the military officer roared loudly. Seeing the young man still standing there foolishly, the military officer didn't care about anything else, immediately sprinting over, holding a long blade. Splat! Warm blood splashed across the young man's face. The military officer kicked the young man's body, roaring, "Scared silly? This is a battlefield. There's no time for you to adapt." "Captain, this kid isn't even a martial artist. I don't know how he was sent over here," another team member explained with a grave face. "What? Is the military headquarters joking with me? Why did they send someone who isn't even a martial artist? Are they sending him to die?" "Sorry, Captain. I will work hard not to hold the team back." The young man crawled up to apologize, but what welcomed him was the military officer's cold gaze. The battlefield was extremely treacherous. They were struggling to save themselves, and now they had to carry a burden. "I don't care whether you're a martial artist or not. Coming here means you're Demon Suppression Army. Remember, the Demon Suppression Army protects others, not gets protected by others." The young man nodded, holding the long blade as his gaze gradually grew firm. Ren Yi looked at this scene blankly, That young man was precisely Ren Shou when he had just joined the military. Back then, Ren Shou's face was slightly immature, yet it also made her feel even closer. The ferocity of the battlefield was beyond imagination, brushing past death every second. Ren Yi could hardly imagine how a person who wasn't even a martial artist could survive on the battlefield. At this moment, she finally understood why Ren Shou had a complete personality change after returning, because she personally sent her son, who wasn't even a martial artist, to the battlefield. She personally sent her son under death's scythe. Drizzling rain sounded continuously. The streets were dilapidated, corpses floating in the gutters, and the air was filled with bloody filth and decay. Who knew how much time had passed? A dirty hand reached out from a pile of corpses as high as a mountain, and a young man crawled out with difficulty from the mountain of corpses, covered in bloodstains and wounds, his face pale due to excessive blood loss. Phew, didn't die. Seems I'm really lucky, the young man grinned, dragging his weak body as he wandered through the fallen base. Alien beasts were all around. Once discovered, he would become food. So hungry! At this rate, I will die! Dragging his exhausted body, the young man overturned a trash pile full of corpses. After searching for a long time, he finally found a glass tube containing half a bottle of unused nutrient fluid. Regardless of anything, the young man opened it and poured it into his mouth. Seeing this scene, Ren Yi's heart felt as if it were fiercely squeezed by a huge hand, tears flowing down unconsciously. This scene made her recall when she had just found Ren Shou back then. At that time, she secretly swore to make up for this son who had been lost for many years. However, after Ren Shou returned to the Ren family, he faced days even harder and more arduous than in the old district. During the 3 years Ren Shou served in the military, they hadn't shown concern even once. Ren Yi covered her mouth, not daring to move forward anymore. This was Ren Shou's spiritual world, and also the past his heart least wanted to recall. She was afraid that if she walked further forward, she would meet Ren Shou. How much must Ren Shou have hated her back then? When the hatred in his heart was amplified infinitely, could Ren Shou still walk out? At this moment, Ren Yi felt as though all her strength had been drained, sitting limply on the ground. At this very moment, she finally understood how huge the harm she brought to Ren Shou as a parent truly was, and finally understood how important these military merits were to Ren Shou. 3 years of blood and sweat, 3 years of blade slashes. Could it be taken away with just a single sentence? Just as she was immersed in grief, a ray of light broke through the illusion, like a light suddenly appearing in the dark night, exceptionally glaring. The blade light sliced onto the young man, cutting him in half at the waist. Ah! The glass tube fell onto the ground, shattering to pieces. The young man's immature face still carried confusion and helplessness as he fell slowly to the ground. No! Ren Yi let out a heart-wrenching sound, wanting to reach out her hand to grab him, but saw a figure walking toward her expressionlessly. His face had shed its original greenness and immaturity, becoming extremely steadfast. His eyes no longer held cowardice or confusion, replaced instead by coldness and indifference, the dense killing intent around his body making him seem like a god of death returning from hell.